Picture yourself at a party. Lights are on. Music is playing. People are laughing at something you said 5 minutes ago. You are, by every visible measure, surrounded. And yet, somewhere behind your ribs, something quietly collapses. A hollow opens up. And you think, why am I the only one who feels like this? Here is the answer no one ever gave you. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not even particularly unusual. You're simply the latest victim of a word that was invented 200 years ago to describe a brand new kind of suffering. One that had never existed before in the entire history of the human species. And tonight, we're going to watch that word be born. What you're about to hear is not a self-help lecture. It is a murder mystery, and the victim is connection itself.
Travel back with me, not far, just 400 or 500 years. You are in 16th century England. You pick up a dictionary. You search for the word loneliness. It is not there. Instead, you find something else. A quieter word, a gentler word, onliness, just onlyness. The state of being one. And here is what is remarkable about it. It carried no pain whatsoever. If a monk sat alone in his cell for a week, he was experiencing onliness. If a shepherd spent 3 days on a hill with no other human in sight, onliness. A painter at his canvas, a widow in her garden at dawn. The word simply described a physical fact, not a wound, not a deficiency, not a cry for help. Just one person, one body, one space. The reason it didn't hurt is because the self was never truly alone. In the pre-industrial world, a human being was woven into the fabric of something larger than themselves. You had a tribe, a village, a guild with rules and rituals, a church that told you the universe was watching, a god who knew your name. Ancestors buried in the same soil you walked on every morning. Even in a forest, completely alone, you were never truly isolated. You were a thread in a living tapestry. You belonged somewhere, to someone, to something. The self had not yet been cut loose from the collective. That cutting was coming. Now, imagine being ripped out of the only world you have ever known. Your village, your family 3 generations deep in the same house. Your seasonal rhythms, planting, harvest, feast, rest. Your priest who knew your father. Your neighbour who helped bury your mother. Gone. In less than 2 generations, less than 50 years, the Industrial Revolution dismantled 10,000 years of human social architecture. Millions of people were extracted from their roots and transplanted into cities that had no memory of them, no record of them, no need for them beyond the hours between sunrise and sunset. They worked 14 hours a day inside buildings that never saw the sun. They slept in rooms stacked with strangers. They passed 10,000 faces on the street, and not one of those faces knew their name. And then, the strangest thing happened. Surrounded by more human beings than any of their ancestors had ever seen in a lifetime, people began to feel completely invisible, not physically alone, existentially alone. And onliness, that gentle, objective little word, had no way to carry this. The language needed a new container for a new kind of pain. Around the year 1800, the word loneliness changed. Not its spelling, its soul. For centuries it had simply meant physically by yourself. Now, for the first time in English history, it began to mean something else entirely. It meant surrounded by people, and still completely unseen. It meant existing inside a machine so large and so indifferent that your disappearance would change absolutely nothing. It meant the specific, nauseating terror of being replaceable. The romantic poets felt it first. Wordsworth, Coleridge, Byron. They wrote about it obsessively, this strange new gravity pulling at the chest. They called it the lonely crowd. Think about that phrase for a moment. the lonely crowd. Two words that, for all of human history before this moment, could not have existed next to each other. You cannot be lonely in a crowd if your identity lives inside the collective. But if your identity has been severed from the collective, a crowd is the loneliest place on earth. Loneliness was not discovered in the Industrial Revolution. It was manufactured there.
Fast forward 200 years. The factory is gone. The machines are invisible now. They live in your pocket. And the system learned something that the 19th century factory owners never figured out. A lonely person is the most profitable person on earth. Not because they spend more, though they do. Not because they stay online longer, though they do that too. But because a lonely person is always searching. And a person who's always searching will click on anything that promises to fill the hole. The algorithms that control your attention were not designed to make you happy. They were designed to make you return. And the fastest way to make a human being return to a screen is to offer them a simulation of the one thing the Industrial Revolution took away: belonging. Likes are not love, but they trigger the same neural pathway. Comments are not conversation, but they silence the hollow for 30 seconds. Followers are not friends, but they give the illusion of a tribe. The platforms did not invent your loneliness. They just found it, that 200-year-old wound, and they built a $1 trillion business on top of it. So, when that hollow opens in your chest at 3 a.m., when you're surrounded by people and still feel like a stranger in a foreign country, when you catch yourself scrolling for the 14th time through an app that has never once made you feel truly less alone, know this: you're not suffering from a personal failure. You're not broken. You're not too sensitive, too needy, too much, or not enough. You are a human animal, built over hundreds of thousands of years to live inside a tight, known, rooted community, who has been asked to thrive inside a system specifically engineered to isolate you. And you are feeling that mismatch. Clearly. Loneliness is not your identity. It is a historical inheritance. And understanding where it came from, understanding that it was built and therefore can be dismantled, that is not just interesting information. That is the beginning of freedom. Because you cannot escape a prison you believe is just the shape of the world. But once you see the walls clearly, once you know they were constructed and when and why, you can start looking for the door.